Most developed countries in Africa, according to the Human Development Index. Africa is an exciting continent with many things going for it. For example, it has a rapidly growing population and experiencing faster infrastructure developments on its path to becoming highly developed. However, for a country to be classified as developed, it must meet specific standards and possess the necessary features. Chief among these features is the availability of modern amenities such as good roads, housing, stable electricity, telecommunication infrastructure, and hospitals. Also, it measures how functional and durable the government is in the availability of good jobs, accessibility to health and social services, personal freedom, and the effectiveness of educational systems. Overall, among the indicators tracked are life expectancy, adult literacy rate, access to the internet, and income inequality. Hello everyone. Welcome to another one of my exciting videos. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel to gain access to similar videos. Over the years, the United Nations Human Development Index (HDI) has become the most universally used tool for measuring countries' developing status. According to the United Nations Development Programme, the HDI was created to emphasize that people and their capabilities should be the ultimate criteria for assessing the development of a country, not economic growth alone. These indicators are always in the following order: 0.00 and 1.00. Countries that score very low on these indicators, from 0 to 0.55, have low human development ratios. The ones that score between 0.55 and 0.70 are medium human development countries. Lastly, those with scores between 0.70 and 0.80 are said to have a high human development ratio. Meanwhile, countries with high human development ratios score between 0.80 to 1.0. Below are the 10 most developed countries in the African continent, based on the latest UN Human Development Index report. Disclaimer. Although the continent is growing rapidly, do note that African countries usually rank low compared to the global average. The first biggest economy in Africa is Mauritius. Mauritius is an island country with a Human Development Index ranking of 0.804. This represents a global ranking position of 66. It has a surprisingly high life expectancy of 75.36 years, a GDP of $13.50 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 25,266. Therefore, these facts place Mauritius as Africa's most developed country, with an HDI score of 0.804. With this score, the World Bank classifies the country with very high human development. Since gaining independence from Britain in 1968, Mauritius's economy has developed from a low-income agriculture-based one to a high-income diversified economy. Dubbed the Mauritian miracle and Africa's success, the country's economy is centered on tourism, textiles, sugar, and financial services. It has attracted significant investment from domestic and foreign companies. While Mauritius is the most developed nation in Africa, the country is ranked 66th place out of 189 nations in the world. Overall, Mauritius has a high ranking in terms of economic competitiveness, a favorable investment climate, competent governance, and a free economy. Number 2 is Seychelles. This is another African island country with a high HDI ranking of 0.796. These represent a global ranking of position 67. The country has a life expectancy rate of 73.65 years, a GDP of $1.20 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 26,904. Seychelles has an HDI of 0.796 and is thus the second most developed nation in Africa. The country is made up of 115 islands that are located 1,500 kilometers east of the coast of eastern Africa. Seychelles is one of the top honeymoon locations in the world, making tourism one of the most valuable sectors of the country's economy. Seychelles' economy is based chiefly on tourism, agribusiness, and fishing, with tourism employing most of the workforce. Notably, Seychelles is one of the most educated countries in Africa. Number 3 is Algeria. This northern African country has a Human Development Index of 0.748, which represents a global ranking of 91. The country has a life expectancy of 77.32 years, a GDP of $155 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 11,174. Algeria is the largest African nation by land mass and one of the most developed countries in Africa. More so, the nation has the highest HDI of any African nation that is not an island. The third most developed nation in Africa, Algeria is also the most advanced nation in North Africa. Overall, Algeria has an HDI score of 0.748 to earn the number 3 spot. According to World Bank, Algeria is classified as a country with high human development. Natural gas and petroleum exports contribute almost one-third of Algeria's annual GDP. The fourth country is Tunisia. Tunisia has a Human Development Index ranking of 0.740, and this represents a global ranking of 97. The country has a life expectancy of 77.17 years, a GDP of 44.27 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 10,414. In 2009, the World Economic Forum ranked Tunisia as the most competitive country in Africa. Notably, Tunisia has a life expectancy of 75 years and an economic freedom score of 56.6. Its overall score increased by 0.8 points due to improved financial health. The fifth country is Botswana. The fifth most developed country in Africa is Botswana. It has a Human Development Index ranking of 0.735, representing a global ranking of 108. The country's life expectancy is 69.71 years, a GDP of 17 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 16,437. Botswana completes the top 5 most developed countries in Africa with an HDI score of 0.735. Notably, it is home to the world's largest diamond mine, and the economy of Botswana is built on mining, agriculture, and tourism. In addition, Botswana currently boasts one of the world's highest per capita growth rates. The sixth most affluent country in Africa is Libya. Libya's HDI stands at 0.724, according to the UN's latest HDI ranking, representing a global ranking of position 105. The country has a life expectancy rate of 73.29 years, a GDP of 24.27 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 15,688. Therefore, Libya is one of the top-ranked developed countries in Africa, with an HDI score of 0.724. The country has a life expectancy of 73 years and boasts the highest per capita income on the continent. Libya's primary source of income is oil and natural gas, which accounts for 3/4 of national income and nearly all of the country's export profits from the beginning of the 21st century. Notably, Libya had the greatest HDI of any nation on the continent when Gaddafi was still in power. However, all changed when the US, NATO, and rebels started their heinous and devastating attacks on the Libyan people and their government. Therefore, the country currently ranks as Africa's sixth most developed nation in Africa. The seventh most affluent country in Africa is South Africa. This country has a Human Development Index ranking of 0.709, thus taking the position for the seventh most developed country in Africa, and this represents a global ranking of position 114. South Africa has a life expectancy rate of 62.8 years, a GDP of 329 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 12,129. South Africa is an upper-middle income country with powers in international affairs. It maintains significant regional influence and is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations and G20. In addition, South Africa also has one of the largest economies on the continent. The country's economy is mainly driven by agricultural, industrial, and tertiary services sectors. According to the World Bank, South Africa is one of the countries with high human development. The eighth most affluent country in Africa is Egypt. Egypt comes in at 8th position with an HDI ranking of 0.707, and this represents a global ranking of position 166. The country has a life expectancy rate of 72.38 years, a GDP of 394 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 11,466. Egypt's economy is heavily dependent on exports. Also, about 3 million Egyptians work overseas, primarily in Libya, Saudi Arabia, the Persian Gulf, and Europe. However, pressure on the economy and resources is still present due to the rapid population growth, scarcity of arable land, and dependency on the Nile. Overall, Egypt's economy is centered on agriculture, media, petroleum imports, natural gas, and tourism. The ninth most prosperous country in Africa is Gabon. The country has a Human Development Index ranking of 0.703, which represents a global ranking of position 119. The country has a life expectancy rate is 66.84 years, a GDP of 16 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 13,930. Gabon is one of the wealthiest countries in sub-Saharan Africa, with the fifth highest GDP per capita in Africa and the ninth highest HDI. The nation is richly endowed with private foreign investment and petroleum resources. However, a large portion of the population still lives in poverty because of income inequality. The 10th most prosperous country in Africa is Morocco. Lastly, Morocco has a Human Development Index ranking of 0.686, which represents a global ranking of position 121. The country has a life expectancy age of 77.21 years, a GDP of 124 billion United States dollars, and a gross national income per capita of United States dollars 7,368. Morocco has maintained a largely stable and prosperous state since becoming independent. It has the fifth largest economy in Africa and exerts substantial influence in Africa and the Arab world. Morocco's resources come from mining, manufacturing, service, textile, and other industries. The nation also depends on telecoms, information technology, and tourism. Notably, Morocco has excellent future possibilities. Therefore, the African continent has a bright future ahead since most things are working for it and thus making it the fastest growing region in the world. Thank you for watching the video. If you loved the video, please subscribe to the channel, like, share, and have a nice day or night. Cheers.